Hey everybody, Beer Chris checking in from my favorite spot, Brass Tap Domain. If you saw my prairie video before when I was here, I'm looking over there now. They still have the tap up there, that big yellow one that I was telling you about before. Come check it out. But we are here for some other tasty deliciousness today. So I already told you about the place last time, so I'm just going to tell you about a couple beers I've had today. So, the first one we were working with was on cask. You know my philosophy on cask. If you see something tasty on cask, go ahead and get it. And usually you can't go wrong with that move. And indeed, that was yet again the case today. So 512 is making, I love the name of this thing, it's a German chocolate cake beer. And so what they do is they take their already very tasty pecan porter and then they add a bunch of chocolate to it. So they are delivering it to me today on cask, and that really brings out the chocolate note even more. But it's not too much. It's not what I would classify as like a chocolate stout where you're getting a ton of chocolate with it. Certainly not like some of the prairie stuff I've had before. But it's like a medium level. So it's not just hints of chocolate. It's not a ton of chocolate. It's just the right amount. And like, you know, if you see the name of it, German chocolate cake, you start thinking like, oh yeah, maybe it does taste like that. And they threw some coconut in there too, of course, right? You got to have that as one of your ingredients with the German chocolate cake. So also, my philosophy on coconut is you need to put a ton of it in there to be able to taste it. And they got like a decent amount. It's not like a whole lot of coconut. Like it's not but that's not what you're going for. It's not a coconut beer. You know, it's a whole German chocolate cake vibe. So they kind of had to balance it with the beer and with the chocolate. And it is a porter. You know, it's that base porter, not a stout. So you want to be a little bit lighter on the flavors. And they did that. So it really does taste good, especially on cask. And I was kind of surprised by the level of carbonation that came out of that cask. It was a little bit higher than what I'm used to seeing, but that kind of worked. Like, you know, it made it a little bubbly there, and so you get all the little effervescence and the flavors and stuff. So that was good stuff. So the other one I've got for you today is the Founders Sumatra. And so they do actually use the Sumatra coffee in with the brew process. And this one is interesting. I wasn't quite sure what to expect going into it. It does have that kind of usual Founders sort of edge to it. You're not getting into your like Russian Imperial Stout edge kind of thing. But Founders, you know, if you've had their breakfast stout and some of their other stuff, it has that particular flavor that is that kind of heavy roast. And so let me give you the notes on this one. The very interesting thing about this is you get like double blast of roastiness. So you get the malt roastiness, and then you also get very heavy coffee roastiness. So it's like double roasted. It's very strong on the flavor, very forward on those kind of like roasty edge kind of notes. So it may take me a little while to work my way through this one. Plus it's clocking in around 9%, if I remember correctly. So yeah, always the small glass as I get, right? So yeah, and then kind of working with that roastiness. It's very tasty. Certainly probably not something you would want to get as a first beer, but as a second beer, it's really good. Palate's adjust a little bit. I'm ready for that roasty edge. And here we go. So cheers and enjoy.